Right after Hillary's dirty tricks were exposed to the world, everybody noticed one insane thing. Michael Goodwin for the New York Post now reports, and so the worm turns. He says, make that worms. He writes, just as key congressional panels open new probes into the still smoking debris of last year's election, the revelation that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee paid as much as $9 million for the discredited Russian dossier on Donald Trump flips the collusion script on its head. Now it's the Democrats' turn in the barrel, he writes. The explosive report in the Washington Compost goes a long way to exposing how the dossier was so widely spread among political reporters during the election. They write that the Clinton camp must have passed it out like Halloween candy to its media handmaidens. News organizations tried for months to confirm the salacious details, but couldn't. They report here that the document became public when BuzzFeed allowed Clinton booster publish it 10 days before the inauguration, while acknowledging that it couldn't verify the contents. They write here that the Post report, the Compost, Washington Compost report, provides possible answers to other questions as well. They say because Clinton's team paid for the dossier, it's likely that she gave it to the FBI, where James Comey planned to hire the former British agent who had compiled it to keep digging dirt on Trump. They continue that the finding also raises the possibility that the dossier is what led the Obama White House to snoop on members of Trump's team and leak the unmasked names to the anti-Trump media in a bid to help Clinton. Now they conclude here, they state, in short, we now have compelling evidence that the dossier was the largest and dirtiest trick of the 2016 campaign, and Clinton, who has played the victim card ever since her loss, was behind it the entire time. Wow, that is an epic story from the Post there. This is the world's dirtiest trick, and it's what I've stated since the story broke, that this dirty dossier was the impetus for the entire investigation. It was used for the unmasking purposes. It was used to start the investigation. It was used to seed the press the lies that they needed to harness to continue their false narratives. And it all started with Clinton money paying Fusion GPS to complete the report. Now, as you do know, a Republican started that report. A Republican began the research that was compiled into that report and paid for it. We still don't know who that person was. I believe myself, John McCain was behind it, perhaps Jeb Bush. But the point is, it was handed off from the left hand to the right hand. Here you go, two buddies, showing you that the Republicans, dirty Democrats, establishment Republicans, establishment Democrats, are no different than just their establishment. They don't care. When they say bipartisan, that means both parties are trying to screw you. Okay? So if the dirty Republicans are handing off this dirty document to the dirty Democrats, whose side are they really on? They're not on your side. And that was the document that started everything. And now we know it was all a farce, paid for by Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and a yet unnamed Republican operative. High level, likely.
All right, as we continue, joining us now with a reaction to all these scandals surrounding Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party, including, Russian lies to impact an election. The author of this book is amazing. Billionaire at the Barricades, and I assume maybe I think the year's 2020, she'll be the host of a brand new Fox News show, The Ingraham Angle, which wait a minute, you start Monday.
Monday. Yeah, we're arranging the pencils.
I know you're #1 on the New York bestseller listing, and I know you're doing great. Here's the problem. We're waiting. When do we get The Ingraham Angle?
We're just getting, we're doing the angle on the pencils in my office across the hall. So we got the staplers. Just as soon as the stapler gets fixed, I'm coming on.
You're going to be firing like, pencil darts at my head.
Exactly.
I don't, as if I don't have enough enemies. Thank you very much.
We're good.
I just can't get over how they used Russian lies with Fusion GPS to influence the election, and how everybody now has gone silent on Russia. Now that they know, and we've been saying this is going to boomerang back. Never mind, they knew Putin had infiltrated the country and everybody had knowledge of it. FBI had it, Eric Holder had it, the president probably had it, Obama in his presidential daily briefings. I cannot believe the degree of lying, hypocrisy, and frankly, they put this country in danger.
When you think about it, Sean, going back to the 90s, I had like a flashback of all the dirty politicking and the dirty campaigning and the use of private investigators the Clintons utilized back in the 90s. Remember the name Terry Lenzner? He was a guy who was like going through people's garbage. And this is what...
Secret police.
Yeah, this is what they do. This is what they've always done. And now they've taken it to an international intrigue degree involving the former Soviet Union. And when you have a Kremlin-written dossier that is compiled by the Christopher Steele fellow, and he puts it all together, but all the dirty, lurid, fake details are provided by Russia. The idea that the highest level of the Clinton campaign, and perhaps even Hillary herself, didn't know about its provenance, didn't know where it came from, that just doesn't pass the straight face test. I mean, I guess we have to hear from Mrs. Clinton. I want a real interview with her, not an interview with a favorable journalist, but she should come on and talk to a serious journalist about what
Laura,
she knew and why this proceeded this way. Well, she's afraid.
Yeah, well, of course, and she's compromised. I mean, she was lashing out at me by name, Fox News Channel by name, just this week. What about this Uranium One? I want to get your take on Uranium One. Under no circumstances would any smart person ever give Vladimir 20% of our uranium.
Yeah.
And then you look at, they knew he had Russian operatives in the country, and that was their goal to corner the market, and they had an informant inside telling them about everything they're doing, bribery, kickbacks, extortion, all this. How could this possibly happen?
Well, all of that you just said, Sean, and then add the fact that we have this Committee on Foreign Investments, the CFIUS board, which includes pretty much the entire cabinet of the Obama administration. Obviously, Hillary sits on it, and the Department of Justice, Secretary of State, they all sit on this committee. Now, you could poll, I'd bet 10 people right across the street at Union Station, the train station in Washington, who don't know anything about politics. But if you ask them, OK, we could approve or disapprove of Russia getting 20% of our uranium that could be used for nuclear weapons, nuclear power. Do you think that's a good idea? Now, I bet 10 out of 10, maybe 9 if you can consider a drunk guy on the street. Probably say, yeah, give it to him.
Well, probably one of them is going to be liberal Joe Scarborough. So you get, he doesn't have a brain.
Under any circumstances.
So, all right. So, but what you have here is they knew Vladimir Putin had infiltrated the country, had spies in the country, was doing illegal activities in the country, and on top of them never being smart enough not to do it ever, but they all approved it anyway. And then the money comes back. I don't understand. Like, I can usually at least understand liberal logic. There's nothing here that makes any sense except that they sold out the country, a massive appeasement mentality, and that they're corrupt.
Well, it's corrupt to the core. It's perhaps other financial interests that we don't know about. I think there's a lot that we just don't know. I think there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle, Sean, that we still don't know. We did not have a Justice Department that really wanted to be transparent in the way they handled this case that it has many different aspects to it. They didn't want an informant to testify to Congress. There was no real congressional oversight of this deal. Again, on its face, it's ludicrous that we ever would have approved this, just on its face. But the fact that they're accusing Trump of collusion when all this was happening, that is what truly makes, I think, Americans who are tuned into this really sick.
Well, congrats on the book, Billionaires at the Barricades, New York Times bestseller.
Thank you.
Are you really showing up to work Monday, or is this all one big joke? Because I've never seen anybody sign a contract and never show up to work. You never show up at work. What is up with that?
Maybe the week after. I'm just doing a very zen approach to my Fox show. I have to breathing exercises before I start.
You're like O'Reilly, but O'Reilly took off, but he had worked here 20 years. You're taking as many days off as him. What is up with that?
That is a low blow. I am not. I am working hard across the hall on my desk.
Okay, so we're going to really see you Monday. You promise?
Monday. And are you going to pass? Are we going to pass like
I'm going to pass.
A drink through the...
I'm going to say, there's an empty chair. She didn't show up. Hannity has an extra hour.
You got to hand me something.
Kilmeade will fill in because Kilmeade's on every other hour of the day. So, all right, the Ingram Angle starts Monday.